Welcome to the continuation. Let's quickly look at conjunction. The next part of speech, conjunction. Right? Conjunction. What is a conjunction? A conjunction is a joining word. Join two or more words or parts together. It might not be word, it might be phrase, it might be clauses. Okay? Joining word. That's conjunction. What does it do? It joins what? Two parts together. It could be joining two words. It could be joining two parts, which is main clause and subordinate clause, and so on and so forth. It just connects sentences, phrase, clauses, and so on and so forth. That's the function of a conjunction. What are the most common conjunctions? We have conjunctions like and, for, or, all those are conjunctions. There is actually an acronym for it. All right, this acronym fanboys. Fanboys. All right, FANBOYS. F stands for, A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, O stands for or, Y stands for yet, S stands for, what is S? Is it not so? So, you can see, while I finished, I had to use so to connect the other part of my speech or the other part of my teaching. So, a conjunction, acting as a conjunction, joining parts. All right, you can join equal parts or join unequal parts. So that pushes us into the concept of the classification of conjunction. Classes of conjunction. What are classes of conjunction? Classes. We have a conjunction can either be coordinating, it can be subordinating, and it can be correlative. All right. Let's pick the first one, number one, which is what? Coordinating conjunction. What is the function of a coordinating conjunction? It joins two equal parts together. Equal parts. The two parts are equal. All right. For example, it joins two nouns together. Okay. Example of them include for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. All right. All the coordinating conjunctions. So use these fanboys to remember coordinating conjunction. Okay. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So this fanboys is the what? Coordinating conjunction. Don't forget that. All right. So let's look at an example. I ate for I was hungry. I ate for I was hungry. All right. This is the conjunction for. What did it join? It joins what? Two equal parts together. I ate. Okay. I was hungry. Okay. I ate. I was hungry. All right. This is what? It joins two independent clauses. This one is an, okay, I ate. I ate is a clause. Yes. So it joins two independent clause. Independent clause. Okay, clauses. This one is also an independent clause. I was hungry. An independent clause. Hope we know the meaning of independent clause. Independent clause is first of all, let's understand what clause is. Clause is an expression that has a subject and a verb. So you have subject and a verb in that sentence or expression. That's clause. Then phrase is the one that has a subject, but it doesn't have what? A verb. That's phrase. Okay, that's the difference between a phrase and a clause. All right. So we have dependent and independent clause. An independent clause is a clause that makes sense on its own, that does not depend on another part or another continuation or expression to make sense, to complete a sentence. For example, I ate. That's an independent clause. It can stand on its own independently. Okay, I ate. I was hungry. Also an independent clause. It can stand on its own. It makes sense on its own. But when you look at the dependent clause in contrast, that one is, it can't stand on its own. It depends on another clause to make sense. All right. It depends on what? Another clause to make sense. That's the dependent clause depends on the independent clause to make sense. Okay. I will give you an example. Example is, if you study. Does if you study make sense? It does not make sense. It doesn't what? Make sense. If you study. You just come now and walk up to someone and say, if you study, you walk up, come out, you walk away. No. That's why it's called a dependent clause. Study is a verb, and if and you is what? The subject. That's why it's a what? It's a clause. If you study is dependent. It depends on another sentence to make sense completely. This doesn't make sense. So we cannot put another sentence here to say you will pass. So this one, you will pass, is a what? It's an independent clause. It makes sense on its own, but the dependent clause needs the independent clause to make sense. If you study, you will pass. Makes sense, correct. But you can't say if you study, wrong. That one is not that it's wrong. Is a dependent clause. It needs more expression. It needs a dependent clause to make sense. All right. But you will pass is an independent clause. You can just tell someone you will pass. It makes sense on its own. Hope I'm understood. Now let's look at the next conjunction, which is what? Subordinating conjunction. All right. Subordinating conjunction joins two unequal parts. That's its function. Number 2, subordinating conjunction. All right. It joins two unequal parts. All right. And the examples of subordinating conjunction include because, when, although, all right, before, since, all these are what? Subordinating conjunction. All right. Until, do we have until here? Until, all these are subordinating conjunction. Why? The one they call while. Meanwhile, all those are subordinating conjunctions. They join two unequal parts together. All right. Usually a main clause with a subordinate clause, or the dependent clause and what? Independent clause. For example, I stayed home because it was raining. This one is okay. I stayed home because it was raining. So it was raining. This one is what? It was raining. This it was raining is what? It's a dependent clause. Yes, it doesn't make sense for you. You can't just come and meet someone and say it was raining. You walk up. That's an incomplete statement now. It's dependent on another statement to make sense. So this one, I stayed home, is what? Wait, it was raining. I stayed home. It was raining. Because it was raining. So you can see our subordinating conjunction here, because joining the two unequal parts. All right. Joining the two unequal parts. I stayed home, and also it was raining. I stayed home because it was raining. Another one, if you study, you will pass. I already give that here. Will pass. Pass is a word. So this one joins what? A clause with a word. It joins a clause, this clause, if you study, with a word, pass. All right. Another one, I smile when I see you. I smile when I see you. I smile. I see you. I smile when I see you. All right. So when is the what? The subordinating conjunction here, joining two unequal parts. I see you is a what? Is a dependent clause. I see you. Okay. I smile. Okay. Okay. I smile when I see you. Okay. This one is the dependent clause. Dependent. You can't just come and meet someone and say, I smile. You don't the wacko. Okay. I smile is dependent. I see you is independent. All right. I smile. I smile. You use this one to make it make sense. But you can tell someone, I see you. That can stand on its own. It makes sense on its own. But I smile. Is everything okay? So that's that for that. So joins the left and the right clauses. Okay. Unequal. All right. So don't forget, this one joins equal, coordinating. Subordinating joins what? Unequal. Subordinate is just like a support, okay, to strike a balance. All right. I want to clean up. Let's look at the final one called correlative conjunction. Correlative conjunction. Correlative conjunction. For correlative conjunction, number 3, correlative conjunction is two words joined together to form a conjunction. Two words joined together to form what? A conjunction. All right. The most common type of correlative conjunction is either, then the second word, or this one is the first example. The second example is, these are the two most common examples. Neither will now carry what? Nor as the second word. Okay. No. Either or is one correlative conjunction. Neither nor is another correlative conjunction. They are the two most common. But we have other ones like not only but also, not only. Then the second part, which is but also. So anytime you use any of these conjunctions, any part of it, ensure that the other part must enter the sentence. Okay? Two of them will not be close by you, like they will not be together, but they must appear in the sentence. The two parts must appear in the sentence. You can't use not only. After using not only finish, you will not say also, you now leave the but. It makes the sentence wrong. All right. Another one is both and. All right. Both, then and. All right. So these two are the most common. Then these other two, yes, you can still see them, but not so common. Let's look at some few examples. For the two most common, you can say either you or Tope should go. So what does it do? Or what did it do here? It joins what? It joins, look at it, either or. You can see it. It joins the word with the dependent clause. Tope should go. Tope should go. Is Tope should go a dependent or independent clause? Tope should go is dependent clause. So it depends on this word to make sense. So this conjunction, correlative conjunction, helps to join the word with the dependent clause. Another one is neither the man nor Tolu. Neither the man nor Tolu is here. All right. Neither the man nor Tolu is here. You can see neither here. You can see nor here. Okay. Then what did it do? It joins the man, which is a phrase, and what? And this Tolu is here. Tolu is here. Tolu is here is an independent clause. It can stand on its own. Tolu is here. It makes sense. All right. So two of them included. Let's do this not only but also. Then we draw the curtain. He is not only brilliant, but also smart. Okay, he is not only brilliant but also smart. Not only and smart and but also, sorry. But when you go and say he is not only brilliant, also smart, or you go and use but smart, the sentence becomes wrong. Okay, because you didn't use the conjunction completely. All right, so that's that for conjunction. Now let's quickly move over to the next, which is going to be interjection. Interjection. So for interjection, interjection are words that are used to express emotions and feelings. To express emotions / feelings. These emotions can be anger, it can be excitation, and so on and so forth. They include, for example, we have words like ah, oh, yay, ah, oh, yay, wow. Okay, there are many. So that is the function of interjection. I think that will be all about interjection. That's what we are going to look at. Preposition. Should we look at preposition? Okay, when we look at preposition, I'm just looking at if we have any other. Okay, let's look at preposition. Then we'll look at adverb. I think adverb is the final one. Then we can now enter other parts of English proper, because you need all these to understand every other part of English. I already thought about clause. All right, preposition. What's the function of preposition? It usually comes before a noun. All right. Is the function, the major function of a preposition is just to reposition a noun. Okay, to reposition a noun, make it make sense. Okay, make something make sense. All right. It's a way of showing. It's a way of pointing at something. There are words that point at something that shows you. It's a directional word. Let's put it like that. For example, we have preposition like to. It's a word. We have another one like beneath. We have another one like underneath. Okay. See, all these prepositions, they can also be used as conjunction. Okay. You have beside. They can be used as conjunction. You have however. You can use them as conjunction too. Okay. So just know that some part of speech can appear in another part of speech. Okay, the same word can appear in multiple parts of speech. All right, just know that. So I said preposition always point at something, and it also acts as a conjunction. Okay, for example, I can say, come to me. Okay, where is it directing you towards? It's directing you towards me. Okay, come to me. I can say, search beneath the cupboard. All right, where is it telling me to search? It's pointing at beneath the cupboard for me to search there. All right, another one is look beside the fridge when searching. All right, where is it telling me to look? Beside the fridge. So most of the time it connects a verb and a noun together. All right, it's telling you, it's controlling your action. That's what preposition does. All right, however, sounding acting as a conjunction. So that's that for preposition. That's that for preposition. So you go and learn how to use those prepositions, because, you know, for example, about, told me about, he told me about, by the time all of that, learn how to use those prepositions. By the end of the month, I should have. So it's left for you to go and research more on that, more on preposition. Learning preposition is not difficult at all, because you are just going to learn the most common ones, like alone. They are all prepositions. Let's look at adverb next. That will be the last one. Then we draw the curtain till evening. Okay, adverb. We still have some time here. Adverb. All right. What are adverb? They modify verb. Remember, I told you adjectives are to nouns, while adverb are to what? Verb. So adverb modify verb. It gives the verb more meaning. It adds that sauce, that stew, to the verb. It beautifies the verb further. That's the function of an adverb. So, for example, he walks slowly. Slowly. What's the adverb here? He is the what? The subject, right? Walks is the what? Verb. Then slowly is the what? Adverb. All right. So what is he telling us? He's modifying this verb, telling us that the walk, his walk is slow. He walks slowly. That's adverb for you. Modifying the verb. Walks closely, hand in hand with the verb. All right. Adverb generally answer questions. Answer questions. Generally. Answers questions such as when, what, okay, where. Let's use where. That's place. Then how, which is manner. Then why, which is reason. All right. So answering questions with adverb. Let's now go deep. Let's dive deep into the four of them. All right. Number one, adverb answers question of when. That is adverb of time. All right. When. He went to school. When. Adverb of time. He went to school at what? At 10 o'clock. Okay. At 10 o'clock is the what? Is the adverb of time. So when, that's number one. That's adverb of what? Of time. Example is, he went to school. So adverb answers the question. When the person comes and asks, he went to school, when? Question mark. He went to school, he went to school yesterday. Yesterday. Okay. So this one now, this yesterday is our what? Our adverb of time. Abi? Answering the question when. Number two is why. All right, which is adverb of reason. Or let's do adverb of place first. Where. All right. Adverb of place. Answering the question where. That's the function of adverb of place. For example, he kicked the ball. You told someone he kicked the ball. He said, yes, he kicked the ball. Where? To answer this question, we now say he kicked the ball at the National Stadium. All right. This one is what? Our adverb of what? Of please. Answering the question when. The next one is why. Adverb of manner. Number 3. No, that one is reason. Let's do manner first. Number 3. Answering the question how. Okay. Adverb of manner. Okay. For example, Davido slapped Wizkid. So you told someone Davido slapped Wizkid. So the person now asks you how. You now respond answering this question how. That's the function of the adverb of manner. The manner. How? What is the manner? Davido slapped Wizkid heavily. All right. Davido slapped Wizkid heavily. A heavy slap. So this is the what? Adverb of manner. All right. Then the fourth one, which is not the final though, we are going to look at other sweet adverbs. Adverb answering the question why, which is what? Adverb of reason. Okay. He did not come to school. He did not come to school. Why? He did not come to school. Why? So the person is asking you why didn't he come to school? The teacher is asking why. So you now give the reason now, answering the question why. The reason, adverb of reason. He did not come to school. Come to school because he was sick. Answering the what? Question. Why? Okay. Because he was what? Sick. So this is the adverb of manner. Because he was sick. The adverb of reason. Sorry. Because he was sick is the adverb of reason. All right. Or simply, you can say sick is the what? Adverb of reason. All right. So we can still look at other adverbs before we look at the order. Adverb also has order. We have other adverb like adverb of purpose, adverb of result, adverb of possession, and so on. Let's just look at adverb of purpose. Example of adverb of purpose and adverb of result. Adverb of purpose usually begins with so that, like the purpose behind something, the purpose. For example, he went to the airport so early. What is the purpose? So that he could catch up his flight. Okay? That is the adverb of purpose. What is the adverb of purpose there? So that he could catch up his flight. Okay? That's the purpose. Adverb of results. Adverb of results usually begins with the same so that. Alright? But it indicates the outcome of an action. The result, the outcome. For example, he went to the airport early so that he would be able to catch up the first flight. Okay? So that he will be able to catch up the first flight. What is the result of the action? The result is what? To catch up the first flight. He was able to catch up the first flight. Alright? He went to the airport so early, he was able to catch up the first flight. So that he was able to catch up the first flight is the adverb of result. Another example. She became pregnant so that she became pregnant so that she was able to deliver her baby. So what is the result? Delivering the baby, right? That's that for that. Let's quickly look at the order of adverb. Okay? This order of adverb is usually adverb of manner, place, and time. That's what you have to note. Then we are going to dig deep into the adverb of time. Adverb of manner, place, time. That's the order of adverb. Manner, place, time. Don't forget. Remember the one of adjective. Usascom. The one you shouldn't forget for adjective is size, age, shape, color. Alright. But for adverb is manner, place, time. Alright. Order. The order is what? Manner, place, time. Adverb of manner, place before time. So in a sentence, for example, I shall meet you briefly in your office at 2 o'clock. I shall meet you briefly at your office at 2 o'clock. All right. So let's now observe to see if this follows the order of adverb. Remember, manner, place, time. All right. Adverb of manner, adverb of place, adverb of time. I shall meet you briefly. Briefly is manner, right? Briefly is the manner at which he wants to meet the person. Then at your office. At your office is what? Place, right? Then at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock is time. So this one is place. This one is time. This one is what? Manner. All right. Does it follow the order of adverb? Yes, it does. It does. It does. It follows the order of adverb. It does. Manner, place, time. So when you now go and have time here and have manner before scattered, it makes the sentence wrong. So I shall meet you at 2 o'clock briefly at your office. That's wrong. Okay. So let's take one more example before we look at the clusters of time. She went to school at 10 o'clock. Went to school at 10 o'clock. All right. She went. Let's figure if it follows order of adverb. She went to school. Went to school. School is place. At 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is time. No manner. We didn't see manner here. So because manner is absent, we follow the order now. Place and time, right? Place, time, correct. But when we now say she went to school at 10 o'clock. No. When we now say she went to, no. When we now say at 10 o'clock, she went to school. Wait. Or we say she went 10 o'clock to school. Or we now say at 10 o'clock, she went to school. That one is wrong. It doesn't follow the order of adverb. It must follow manner, place, time. That's it. But when time appears in cluster, what do? There's the rule we follow. Okay. The smaller comes before the larger one when time appear in what called cluster. All right. When you have more than one unit of time in the sentence, you will start from the what? The smaller time to the what? Bigger time. That's big, bigger, biggest in essence. Okay. For example, he arrived at 6 in the evening yesterday. He arrived at 6 in the evening yesterday. We have different unit of time here. At 6, 6 is 1. That's 6 p.m. In the evening. Evening is another time again. Okay. Yesterday is another unit of time. So remember, it says what? From the smallest to the biggest. That's how you are going to arrange it. So big, bigger, biggest. That's how you are going to arrange it. So which is the largest time unit of time here? It's yesterday. Okay. You are going to see 6 p.m. before you see evening. Before you see yesterday. So it's yesterday that is the biggest. All right. So inside yesterday we have day inside, and inside day we have evening inside, and inside evening we have 6. So is well arranged. Okay. Big, bigger, biggest. So it becomes wrong when you now say he arrived at 6 yesterday in the evening, or he arrived yesterday evening at 6. It becomes wrong. It's not following the order of the order of adverb. That's when you have clusters of unit of time. Okay, so let's look at the final example that we call it. We draw the curtain with adverb. Let's say the class will be held at 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock on Wednesday next week. Okay. So for this unit of time we have here, the first unit of time is 2 o'clock. The second one is Wednesday. The third one is next week. Which is the biggest? You have week here. And inside week, you have days of the week, like Wednesday. So next week is the biggest. Wednesday is day. Okay. Is the second what? Biggest. Okay. Then 2 o'clock is inside day. It's an hour, right? Hour in a day. And 2 o'clock is the smallest. So you arrange it from smallest to biggest. So 2 o'clock, which is the smallest. Wednesday is what? Smaller. Next week is what? Small, right? Or we can write this as what? Biggest. Bigger. Big, right? Abino be so. All right. So we draw the curtain in anything related to adverb. We have done justice to adverbs. All right. So we are done with the part of speech. I think it's time to brush into English proper. And before we do that, we are going to use, I think we'll use, how much time do we have? Let's see if we can do grammatical concord. Let's do grammatical concords. Let's do grammatical concord, then we draw the curtain. All right? grammatical concord, or the concord. Not just grammatical concord. We have various concords, but we start with grammatical concord. All right. Yeah, let's say there are various types of grammatical concord. You have ordinary grammatical concord. You still have other grammatical concords. All right. Grammatical concords. Or let's start with concord. What is concord? Is the agreement between what? Subject / what? Verb. All right. Concord seek the agreement between a subject and a verb. And we are going to understand that agreement. We already talked about what subject is and what object is. All right. We understood that already. And in concord, we have various types of concord, but the most common type of concord are 1. Grammatical concord. 2. We have proximity. Then we have notional concord. We have notional concord. We also have different other concord. Concord of subordinated subject. But for this level, let's look at these ones. Okay. Picking grammatical concord, the first one. Grammatical concord. What is it all about? It says the agreement between the subject and the verb. Okay. What does it mean? That the subject must be singular. When the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. So singular subject should go with what? Should go with singular verb. Everything must be singular. That's what concord, grammatical concord means. Singular verb. Remember, it's between the subject and the verb. Okay. For example, we already talked about forms of verb and forms of noun. Okay. For noun, for example, noun, to make a noun plural, we can have a noun as singular as bag. Okay, this is singular. To make it plural, all you need to do is to add either s, or you add es, or ies, depending on the noun. Okay, so we can say ladies. Okay, we added ies to make it what? Ladies. Okay, we can also say men. Okay, the man, an, we removed an and we added what? En. All right, that's for men. But let's leave that one. Let's say we've done the one for s, we've done the one for ladies, and remaining the one for es, right? Church. We can convert this church to what? Churches. As plural, that's adding es, ies, or s. All right, that's for what? Noun. So to convert a noun to plural, just add es, s, or ies, right? But for verb, it's entirely opposite. These forms that carry s, es, and ies are singular verbs. Then the ones that doesn't carry s, es, and ies are plural verbs. For example, try. This is a singular verb. This is a plural verb. Tries. This is a what? Singular verb. Wash. Plural verb. Washes. Singular verb. Then the one with s is which one are we going to use with s now that has only s? Buys. Buy is plural verb. Buys is what? Singular verb. So that's that for that. We have to learn this very well before we start doing this concord though. But if you don't learn it, you are going to be encountering issues when doing concord, because this thing is very easy and it's a very cheap mark in your exam. Always repeated 247. For example, e.g., the boy talk too much. First of all, in this sentence, what is the object? I said object. Sorry, first of all, in this sentence, where is the subject? I said subject is the one before the verb. First of all, find the verb. Where's the verb? Now the verb is this, talk, right? And the verb here is a what? What kind of verb is this? It's a plural verb. It doesn't have es, neither does it have s or ies. So this is what? A plural verb. All right? Before the verb is subject. So we have the compound subject, the boy. Okay? So nothing concerns the singular and plural now. Abi? So it's the boy that we are looking at for. So this boy is what type of noun? As it's acting as the subject. What type of noun is it? Is it singular or plural? It's a singular noun. Okay? Singular noun. All right? So does this obey the rule of concord? This one we have singular noun here. Here we have plural noun. Does it obey the rule of grammatical concord? No. So what do we do? What do we do? We either put s here and leave it like this. The boys talk too much is correct. Because boys now will not be plural noun and talks now will not be plural verb. Correct. Or we can clean the s and put our s here. The boy talks too much. Correct. So both are correct. All right. So this is now a what? A singular verb. Singular verb, singular noun. As easy as ABCD. That's grammatical concord for you. All right. Let's look at the exception to the grammatical concord rule. There's an exception. Grammatical concord doesn't apply to the first one. Number one is that the exception is that grammatical concord only applies to sentence in present tense. Only applies to what? Sentence in present tense. So look at this one. The boy talks too much is present tense. Okay, you talk too much, correct, present tense. I try my best, always, correct. No, not this one. The ladies try to live above board, correct. They are all in present tense. Tries, all in present tense. Anything that make you to have something like past tense here, like the boy talked to me, as if you can't, no need for grammatical concord again. Nothing concern grammatical concord concern past tense or future sentence in future tense. Only present tense. Take note of that. So the first thing that you are looking at for when talking about concord for a sentence, you are trying to detect if it's a grammatical concord or whatever concord you have in the sentence, is check if the sentence is in the present tense. That's the first thing. Then the second one is those two pronouns, I and you, does not obey the law of grammatical concord. They are exempted. So when I or you is the what? Is the subject, no need for grammatical concord. If you put grammatical concord, if you follow the rule of grammatical concord, the sentence becomes wrong. Okay? For example, the boy, no, I try, see, let me show you. I try my best. On a noun, this sentence is the present tense, is in present form. Yes, we can look out for grammatical concord. All right. Looking at grammatical concord, this one is the verb, okay, and it's a what? It's a singular verb. This one is before the verb and is the what? The subject, right? Then this one, my best. All right. Nothing concern my best. What we are looking at is the subject and the verb. All right. This one is a singular subject. I is a singular subject. I. Try is a what? Is a plural. I is a what? I is a plural verb, right? Okay. So you can see that it doesn't obey the law of grammatical concord. Because this one, I is singular, try is a plural. You can see it's a plural verb. So it doesn't obey the law of grammatical concord. I try my best is correct. But when you go and try to make it obey the grammatical concord, I tries my best. Can you see? Because you have I here, you can't do grammatical concord. This one now is singular noun. This one now is also singular verb. Okay? It obeys the law of grammatical concord, but it's wrong. Because when you have I or you as the subject, no need for grammatical concord again. It's an exemption to the rule of grammatical concord. Another one again is you talk too much. You talk too much. Are you supposed to say you talks too much or you talk too much? If we should obey the law of grammatical concord, we are going to say you talks too much. Okay? Because you is singular noun. Talks is singular verb. You talks too much should be the correct one if you are following grammatical concord. But since it's wrong to apply the law of grammatical concord, though we have you as the subject, we remove this talk and make it this talks. We make it talk. Okay? So this is a singular noun and this is a plural verb. All right? Singular noun, plural verb, not obeying the law of grammatical concord. All right? Let's look at the next. Let's pick proximity concord next. Proximity concord. Proximity concord. Proximity concord. What is proximity concord? Proximity, or let's pick notional concord. We've done this one. Let's do this one. Notional concord. What is notional concord? Based on the notion, based on the perspective, based on the context. Notion means context. What you mean? Context, perspective. That's notion. All right? That's notion for you. So notional concord says this concord it applies to collective noun. Applies to collective noun. Okay, only collective noun. All right, and remember that collective noun, the same spelling is its singular form, the same spelling is its plural form. You don't add s to collective noun. All right. So the notional concord states that the choice of verb, all right, the verb can be singular or plural verb, depending on the notion, depending on the context, depending on the perspective, depending on what the speaker or the writer means. All right, let's understand that now. So we can say, example, the police is not a place for me. All right, the police is not a place for me. This is correct. We are using is here. Police here. The police is the subject. Is the verb. We are using is here, and is a what? Singular verb. Okay, the police is also a singular verb. This statement is correct. We can also say the police is, okay, the police are celebrating their promotions. The police are celebrating their promotions. All right, both are what? Correct. Both sentences are correct. You can see that the same police we have here is like a singular form, but is what? A collective noun. Since police is a collective noun, is a collective noun. Since police is a collective noun, this verb that we have here is what is going to determine the notion. All right. So if we use a singular verb, for example, when we use singular verb, like for this first example here, is, the notion means that, what this sentence means, that the police is not a place for me. What it means is that the police as an entity, as a whole body, as a cooperation, is not a place for me. That's, we are seeing the police from a singular angle, as a collective noun, singular angle. So the police is singular angle here, collective. Both of them is collective, but here we are looking at the singular angle. Okay, the police as a whole entity, as a whole body, is not a place for me. Okay, then this second one, the police are celebrating their promotions. When we use a singular noun, when we use a singular verb for notional concord, it means that the police, we are now looking at the subset of that police as a body. This is a police entity as a body. All this one are each police inside the entity. Okay, each police inside the entity that makes up the police as a body. The first notion here, where we use a singular verb, we are referring to the whole entity as a body. But the second one, where we use a plural verb, we are talking about each of the police that makes up the entity, the subset of the entity. All right. So when we say the police are celebrating their promotion, it means that each member of the police entity is personally celebrating his or her promotion. All right. That's what that means. So that's the difference in notion. All right. The difference in notion. So when we use plural, when we use a plural verb, we are referring to each member of the entity. When we use a singular verb, that's this one, that is a singular verb. This one, we are referring to the whole entity. All right. So that's that for notional concord. All right. We are going to look at proximity concord next. Let's quickly look at the final one, which is though we have other concords, but let's look at the proximity concord next. All right, we have other concords. Let's take the proximity concord. For the proximity concord, what do we have to note about the proximity concord? Proximity means nearness, closeness. That's proximity. Nearness or closeness. So it all depends on what is closer to the verb. That is what is going to control the verb. That's what proximity concord says. All right. The closer to the verb controls the verb. But let's understand it better. Okay. Remember we treated conjunction, and there is a kind of conjunction called correlative. Is it correlative conjunction? Yes, correlative conjunction. Two words added together. Okay. To form a correlative conjunction. And we gave an example. The most common one is either or neither nor. Right. Those are the two most common ones. Either or neither nor. All right. All right. So both. Okay. They are the most common. We have other ones, but this proximity concord talks about these two correlative conjunctions. All right. Correlative conjunctions. Two words added together. Okay. So the law of proximity concord states that when a group or compound subject, when a group subject, remember I taught you what compound subject is, 2 or more words forming a subject is not a compound subject or group subject. Okay, for example, I have the big boy. This is a compound subject, the big boy, all of them, they make up the subject, compound subject. We also have compound noun, 2 words added together to form a noun. For example, compound noun, 2 words added together. What's an example of a compound noun? We have compound noun like sun, sunscreen. This is a compound noun. Notebook, note and book. All these are compound nouns. All right. I just decided to ship this in, okay, because we didn't talk about this during our noun class. All right. So the law states that when a group or compound subject is subordinated by either or neither nor any of these 2, the subject closest to the either nor or neither nor controls the verb. That is that subject that is going to determine the verb that you are going to put there. All right. For example, that's why we have proximity here, nearness. The subject closer to the verb, closer to the either nor or neither nor controls the verb. Okay, that's the subject nearest the verb. Okay, the law states that when a compound or group subject is correlated by either or neither nor, that's you have either or neither nor in the sentence where you have compound subject, the subject closer to the verb, the closest subject to the verb controls the verb. For example, either John or the girl are the offenders. Let's just put either John or the girl dash the offenders. All right, dash the offenders. How do we, a verb is supposed to be here, it's missing. How do we put a verb there? Remember the law. It says that when you have either or neither nor in a compound subject, what do? What determines the verb? Is the subject closest to the verb now. Now let's write out the what? The compound. This is the compound or the girl. This one is the compound subject. This is where we are going to have the verb. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words making up the compound subject. Can you see? Because he said if the compound subject is correlated, is brought together, is conjuncted, is conjoined by either or neither nor, that the subject closest to the verb controls the verb. That's what is going to determine the verb that we are going to have there. So what is the subject between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this compound subject? What is the subject closest to this verb position here? Is girl. Is girl singular or plural? Girl is a singular noun. And remember the law of grammatical concord. Singular noun goes with what? Singular verb. So what should be the singular verb that should be here? Is it is or are? Which of them? Pick the singular verb. Is a singular verb? Yes, the one ending in s, es, or ie is singular. So is the right answer. So either John or the girl is the offenders. Correct. Let's now do for neither nor. Neither nor. All right. Neither nor. Neither the manager nor his worker dash arrived. Neither the manager nor his workers dash arrived. All right. What are we looking at for here? This is the compound subject. Neither until the place we have verb. Before the verb is the subject, right? Everything there. How many words makes up this subject? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 words. So among these 6 words, which is the word that is what? That is closest to the verb. This is the position for the verb. Which is closest to the verb? Workers. So workers is a noun. Is workers singular or plural noun? Workers is plural noun. All right. So that means we are going to put a plural verb here. So between has / have, what should be the answer? What should we put here? Is have a singular verb? Have is a plural verb. Has is a what? Singular verb. So grammatical concord states singular, singular, plural, plural. All right, between the subject and the verb. All right, so we have what subject here? We have a plural noun here, workers. So we are going to go with a plural verb, right? Which is have. All right, have should be the right answer. So neither the manager nor his workers have arrived. That is the law of proximity concord explained. All right. Let's look at the final one, concord of subordinated subjects. Okay, that's the final one for this level. Concords of subordinated subjects. We have several other types of concord, but let's look at this one, concords of subordinated subjects. Concords of subordinated subjects. Concords of subordinated subjects. All right, of subordinated subjects. the law states that if a group subject, the same group subject again, or compound subject, has a coordinator such as and. Remember the types of conjunction when we dealt with conjunctions. We talked about the coordinating conjunction, subordinating conjunction, and correlating conjunction. And the coordinating conjunction includes the fanboy acronym for, and, by, and so on and so forth. All the acronyms there. All right. So it says that when a compound subject has a coordinator, when a coordinator is part of a compound subject, the whole subject becomes irrelevant, and the whole subject becomes relevant, and controls the verb. So, and what it's telling us is that when we have a coordinating conjunction like and, for, by, fanboys, so, yet, and is the most common. Another one is again as well as another one. Another one again is together. So when we have any of these conjunction in a compound subject, it means that this conjunction has turned that subject to plural, has pluralized the subject. It's no longer singular. So if you see Tolu and Moses as a subject, it means that it's not a singular subject again. It's not a plural subject. And because of we have something like and here, or any of its other forms, coordinating conjunction, it controls the verb. That's why it's going to determine the verb that is going to be there if it's a singular or a plural verb. Let's take one example. All right. The man and the woman dash here. E.g., the man and the woman dash here. What verb should be here? Remember, the subject is before the verb. So everything we have here before the verb that should be here is the subject. So the man and the woman dash here. How many words makes up this compound subject? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words. So what is the law? Instead that when we have a coordinating conjunction, that it becomes a plural. Okay, so this everything here now controls the verb that is going to be here. So all here, what we have here is now a plural subject. Plural subject now. That's what we have here. Man and the woman, plural. So we need a plural verb here too, right? So what is a plural verb? Should we put is or her or are? Which is plural? Both of them. Is singular. Are is plural. So are is the answer. All right. The man and the woman are here. So if we still use the man as well as the woman are here, correct? If we can still use the man together with. No, with. When you use with, except there's only together and there's no with. Let's just remove this together to avoid confusion. As well as is okay. Plus is okay. If you see plus, like this plus, the man plus the woman is here, is also okay. All right. Now, let's look at the second one. Okay, the second rule, which states that when you have subordinating conjunction joining the compound subject or the group subject, when you have a subordinator, okay, conjunction, such as with, with before, is it before? Because, when, and so on and so forth. When you have any of this kind of subordinating conjunction, which is the most common, what do you do? The first, or what they call the subject that is farther away from the verb controls the verb. Okay? That is the first subject. Okay? The first subject controls the verb. The other subject becomes irrelevant. Okay? The first noun in the subject controls the verb. For example, we have an example here. The man with his wife dash come. The man with his wife dash come. What is the verb that is supposed to be here? Because here is the verb, here will be the subject, right? So this is the what? Subject. It's a compound subject. So what do we do now? We are going to look for the first and the second noun in the subject. All right? The first noun here is man, first. The second is wife, second. The second becomes what? Irrelevant. Wife becomes what? Irrelevant. So we are going with man. And man is a what? Singular verb. Man is going to control the verb. Since man is singular verb, the law of grammatical concord states that what? We put what here? A singular verb too. Okay? So between have / has, what should we put here? The man with his wife dash come. What should we put here? We are going to use, you remember we are looking for a singular verb because man is singular. So singular verb is has. So has is the answer. So the man with his wife has come. That's that for. I'll see you all in the next class. Bye-bye.